I was thinking about my childhood and how the church is a fashion capital within itself. And I know most people look towards the couture or the giant fashion capitals in America, Paris, Milan, Tokyo, but a lot of us overlook how couture actually is a part of the church culture as well. Been watching this show recently called The Chosen. And while I do love the message and I do love the spiritual learning that I'm getting from this show, I'm also appreciative of the costume design and how symbolic garments, stoles, robes, and the ornament of church actually is to the message that has to be preached. When I look at the show and I think of deacons, I think of the Pope, I think of rabbis, I think of anybody who holds religious authority or power, there is dress that helps them establish that authority or power. You look at the Pope, those robes and stoles are adorned with stitching, special sacraments, special symbolisms, special fabrics, textures, colors. All these things play into the grand scheme of not only fashion, but how fashion translates to status, power, knowledge, and even wealth. When it comes to Roman Catholic Church and that expansion of Roman presence in Jerusalem, Israel, and across the whole entire Middle East, you see that the people of authority and people who are in religious authority for that matter have on garments that separate them from the commoners, that let people know this person is of special approach. They deserve a different respect level. They deserve a different type of lifestyle because the lifestyle they live in the kingdom of heaven needs to translate to the kingdom on earth as well. As someone who grew up in America and who has a lot of ties to the deep south, church is the fashion show. Like people talk about the Met Gala being the most important Monday. Sunday is actually my Met Gala. As a child, putting on, your Sunday clothes was sometimes punishment, but also seen as an opportunity to show off and show out. I remember my mom would have my clothes laid out the night before, freshly pressed slacks, crease on point, a blue collared shirt, possibly a tie, and of course, the A King church shoes ready to go. This was something I also did when I took my uniform to school as well. As someone who went to Sunday school, who went to Catholic school, the blazers, the ties, the crests on the blazers, the blue shirt and the gray pants, the black socks, girls wearing those plaid skirts. Things that we see currently now from Bottega, Chanel, Ralph Lauren, and a plethora of other brands are things that were adopted by the church first and foremost. So you see how church and couture are kind of going hand in hand. It's almost asking which came first, the chicken or the egg. They came simultaneously. Using the church helped bring fashion to a grander context. It helped explain how people receive the world through their dress. I was reading Andre Leon Talley's biography again, The Chiffon Trenches, and one thing I really appreciated was his admiration for the ladies in his life, specifically the aunties and the grandmothers and the church ladies. He talked about how going to church in their best dressed not only was a sign of respect, but an opportunity to show off their craftsmanship, their storytelling, their pride. A lot of the times they're making their own dresses, the hats they would wear, the color palettes they would choose. These women were showing off a sense of growth. They were showing off how far they've come to be able to come to church on a Sunday in their best dressed. You receive the Lord as you may come, but you also don't want to show up not ready for that kingdom of heaven. Presentation is key because presentation helps people receive you how you want to be received. Now, we look fast forward to today to current runway brands Dolce & Gabbana, Chanel, Dior, Ralph Lauren, Amiri. If you look closely at most of these collections, if you do any bit of reading or history, you will see direct ties to religion, whether it be Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, and whatever denominations you choose. Religion has a strong influence on fashion. And I think that's such a strong influence because we try to keep church and state separate, but the church is so involved in our secular lives every single day, from music, food, fashion. Even where you live, religion has a great impact on all those things. And how you experience them depends on your upbringing. So, how you wear certain clothes, how you travel, how you do anything is going to translate directly to that church's influence on your life. When I think about the church in the couture space, certain things like a stole, these tweed jackets, these blazers, these crests, these saris, things that people wear for religious purposes because this is things that are sacred in those homes, are now being worn outside as fashion statements. I see a lot of people searching for new inspirations and trying to find that spark. When I think about Caravaggio and Van Gogh and all these Renaissance artists, most of their greatest works came from those periods of Roman Catholicism. Now, I'm not saying you need to go to church and now use a church as your muse. However, I think it'd be very interesting to see how religion and the church spill into your everyday life. The music, the art, the literature, and obviously the fashion all have some tire connection to your faith and your spirituality. Let me know what you think. And as always, peace.